So then when you talk about gross anatomy, is just visually what you can see, the gross general parts. And then you have microscopic anatomy, where you're looking at, or it's also called histology, where you're looking at things under the microscope. We're not going to get so much into the histology, we're going to be doing more just gross anatomy. And then developmental anatomy is as things change, as the body grows from the fetus to an adult. And then physiology is the study of function. So anatomy is basically structure, physiology is function. And pathology is study of disease, kinesiology is the study of movement, and cytology, cyto meaning cell, so that's going to be the study of the cell. And histology, like I said, is more of a microscopic view of anatomy. And then developmental anatomy, like I said, it changes as things grow. For example, we'll be talking about the bone, and we talk about epiphyseal plates. And in kids, they're still growing, and you get to a point where the epiphyseal plates fuse. And so as the body grows, things change with anatomy. And then embryology is the study of how the body actually forms from the basic starting cell on its way up before birth. So physiology, you get into the function of all the different things, and then you talk about different organ systems. So as far as renal or nephrology, cardiovascular, let's focus on the functions of the body, and then also on the cellular or molecular level. Now, there's talk about different levels of organization of the body, starting from the most basic level. You know, obviously, we're composed of chemicals, atoms and chemicals. You put a couple of those together, and then you group that together to a different type of tissue. So you have connective tissue, like you have bone, that's the type of tissue. You have nerve tissue, muscle tissue, things like that. Then you group a few different types of tissues together to form an organ. And that's where you talk about like the heart, the lungs, a muscle, things like that. Then you put a group of organs together to an organ system, and those function together to perform a common task. Like you have the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, that's composed of different organs. You put all the organs together, and then you have the whole organism. Whoops. All right, so you can't read that. It's basically as maintaining life. So you have to have necessary life functions. And there's two basic levels. Of the more basic levels of functions, things like maintaining boundaries, movement, responsiveness, digestion, metabolism, excretion, reproduction, and growth. And then you just have, in order to survive, there's certain things that your body needs to survive, which is going to be nutrients, oxygen, water. You have to maintain your normal body temperature, and then also normal atmospheric pressure. And then we'll just go briefly through all the different systems. Let's see, can you guys see that one? Am I standing right in the window? Okay. And if anybody can't hear me in the back or something, if I need to talk louder, just let me know. So the skeletal system is going to be composed of bones, cartilage, and ligaments. And it's also what we call more or less is inert tissue. When you get more into clinical things as far as evaluation, you talk about the difference between inert tissue is going to be bones and muscles, tendons, joints, versus contractile tissue, which is going to be muscles, tendons, and their attachments. So then the functions of the skeletal system is to protect and support the body organs. So you're basically your torso here, you have the bony ribs and things that are going to help protect the organs that are inside. And then also it gives attachment points to muscles. If all we were was muscles, you wouldn't be able to move because the muscles have to attach to something. So it provides the framework of the body and also attachments for muscles. And then also blood cells are formed inside of the bone marrow, in the spongy bone marrow. We'll talk more about that. And then also acts as a storage bank for minerals. primarily calcium. So there's calcium in your bones, and sometimes if your blood system needs calcium, it'll take it out of the bones, and then it'll put it back in. It's like a bank. You make withdrawals and deposits. And then the muscular system, or basically, is going to be contractile tissue. So that's going to be muscles, tendons, and their attachments. And what that does is obviously it allows you to move. That's what manipulation of the environment and locomotion, facial expression, anything that's going to be moving is going to be done by muscle. And it helps to maintain your posture and also make for the heat. So you know whenever you get cold, you start shivering, that's muscles are working to try to generate heat. And then we'll talk more when we get into muscle. There's going to be 3 different kinds of muscle. You can have smooth muscle, which is in your digestive your organs, the digestive system, skeletal muscle, and then cardiac muscle. Then we have the nervous system. That's going to be basically starting from the top of the brain. Then you have the spinal cord, and you have all the nerves that go out from there. And it's basically the electrical system of the body. So it's a fast-acting control system of the body. It controls all the different functions of the body. Whether it's going to be a conscious movement of muscle or just unconscious control and regulation of your body systems. And what it does is the impulses are either going to activate something like a muscle or gland or different things like that. And then you have the nervous system. Basically, it goes two different ways. Your motor nerves start from the brain and go to your muscles, and then your sensory nerves, obviously you're going to start in the end organ in the skin or the sensory organs, and then go back up. Then you have the cardiovascular system, which is going to be the heart and the blood vessels. Obviously the heart's going to be pumping the blood and transporting nutrients and things through the body. Then you have the lymphatic system, and that starts from the beginning where you have the areas in the bone marrow where the white blood cells are formed. And then you have lymphatic organs like the thymus, the spleen, lymph nodes, and then lymphatic vessels. Basically, it's going to pick up fluid within your body that leaks out of the blood vessels and then bring it back into the circulatory system. And then along the way, there's the lymph nodes that help to filter out things of the lymph, from the lymph. And then it's also where the white blood cells are stored for immunity purposes. Then, of course, the respiratory system is for respiration. Basically, it's composed of the lungs and the bronchioles, trachea. And that basically is going to move gases in and out of the body. Oxygen is going to be coming in, carbon dioxide is going to be going out. Then you have the digestive system. And then actually the inside of your digestive system is a big tube. So technically inside of your stomach is still the outside environment. Because basically as food comes in, it can go all the way through your body and comes out the other end without ever being technically inside your body. So basically it starts from the mouth and then goes to the other end. It's going to eliminate indigestible foods. It's going to break down and digest foods. And then you have the urinary system, which is basically the waste disposal system of the body. It filters things out of the blood and then deposits it through the urinary system. And that's also with the kidneys, it's going to regulate the electrolyte content of your blood. There's different sensory systems where if your kidneys will sense that there's not enough calcium or things like that, it'll help trigger things to the body to retain certain minerals or vitamins or excrete them as needed. Then you have the male reproductive system, and obviously the main function of that is to produce offspring. And then also there's a lot of hormones involved with that, and then the different plumbing parts that move the fluids through the reproductive system. Then you have the female reproductive system, which again is orientated towards reproduction. You have the uterus, ovaries, things like that, and the mammary glands. And then also there's obviously hormones related with that system as well.